Okay, nice. So the second question is that how long marks will it take one to finish an article or any technical document that one starts? Depends on the scope of the project, right? So if you are working on a large documentation, you just need to estimate the time that you feel like it's okay for you to finish. But for regular articles, a week is like enough to work on an article. Yes. But things like documentation, frequently asked questions might take more time because you need to like figure out what you want to talk about in the documentation, what you need to explain, like, and it will take you time to learn about what you want to write about because you need to learn it deeply so you can catch any errors or whatever problem the reader might encounter. So you just have to put them down one article. That would be it. So it depends, but for regular articles, three 3 days to a week. Finish it. But as always, someone who asked this question yesterday, one of the groups I'm in, that um, how do you estimate time for your for your employer? Right? Like when giving the task, how do you explain or estimate the time it will take? My response was that just give them the time you think it will take you, and most times try to deliver before that time. Then he asked that, what if your employer is strict and does not, yeah, like, so I said, give them a time frame, right? Just give them that, okay, I'll finish this in 2 weeks. Then try your best to deliver before that 2 weeks. What I do is I try to deliver in a week and give it 2 weeks, right? So he asked that, what if your employer is strict and does not give extensions? And I said the employer should continue from where you stop because if I encounter any problem or bugs that might take me more days to figure it out or something. Right. For example, I was working on an article for one hosting company. Uh, so my first time deploying on their using their product. So I had to like take a few days to talk to their support when I encounter issues and all of that for setting everything. So just look at the project and give them, if you, for example, if you were to work on the documentation, and the documentation will be about 10 to 15 pages, and estimate that, okay, one page of the documentation will contain like 1,500 words, then 1,500 words, you try to determine the amount of time it takes you to write that much words, right? So, for example, if 1,500 words take you like uh, 3 days to finish, then you can multiply 3 times 15 to give them time, right? Then add a few more days to it. For regular articles, I do so. I have a friend that finishes his article in 1 hour, 2 hours, because he already knows what he wants to write about them. Just gets to it. I saw a post on LinkedIn a few months ago too that the guy said he broke his own record of writing 40 articles in a month. That his previous record was 30 articles. That month he wrote 40 articles. So it just depends on how much you can do. But for an article, I do 3 days to 1 week because I send my articles to people before sending it in. I send I send them to my guys to read, so I give them like 2 3 days to give me feedback. Then I submit a week. So depends on you, your time, how much time you have, and how much you can write. And Sapa too. Sapa is a great motivator. Yeah. I remember one time I was broke and I finished an article in 2 days. I started that day and I finished it that day. Then I ran it through Grammarly and did the editing the second day. Then I sent it in. Because Saba was choking me. So yeah. So you just consider a lot of things that you decide. I'm sorry I could not give you a definite answer to that. Um, can I take more than one technical writing gig at a time? Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. I have multiple gigs I'm working on right now. I have like 4 or 5 companies I write for at the moment. And for technical projects like tasks, um, I work with Content Lab and they give 2 weeks uh, deadline for you to finish an article. One time I took on 2 articles, but I have to like deliver both of them that 2 weeks. It's not that one will take me 2 weeks and the second one will take me 2 weeks. Like if I'm taking on two, I have to deliver both of them within that 2 weeks. And that was what I did. So yeah, you can take more than one variety at a time, except if you work in-house for a company. Most times companies don't have an issue with you writing for that, like taking other gigs, but just read your contracts and ask if you can write for multiple companies. For example, some companies like Flutter will want to allow you to work for competitors like Paystack or companies that does similar things as them, have similar products. But yeah, it can take more than one tech writing at a time. So how can the next one is how can one effectively receive his or her payment after executing technical writing key? This question was prompted on the speculation that you definitely discuss the technical writing pricing system today. So the first one, there are multiple ways, gig pay, there are a lot of them, sure, payday and all of them, but I don't use fintech companies. I've never used any of them. I use my regular GT Bank account to receive my payments. So in USD, right? So I don't use any of them, but I have friends that use them. But because most of the people that use um, when you use fintechs, you definitely have one problem or the other. So I try my best to avoid such issues. And the one time I deviated from that, the company has still not paid me. So it's July, I believe, August. So I gave them this company, I think the company was called Wise, and they have not received my payment. So I don't use any of the fintechs, I use my regular GT account to receive my payment. But there are a lot of reviews online how people use GitPay. There are lots, like there's Gray, there's GitPay, a lot of them, but I don't use any of them. So just try to get a regular dollar account from the regular banks. They work well. Promise you that they work very well. I've never had any issue with them. So yeah. So the question was prompted on the speculation that you will definitely discuss the technical pricing system today. Yeah, so the okay, search for this email. Search for this email. So Okay, let me check something. So the first thing I would say about the pricing system is that most companies have their own pricing. Already like $500 per article to $50 per article, like that. But in the rare cases where they ask you the which like what okay, what's your range, right? So my regular range, so I don't scare them off. And it depends on the company. So if they are a startup and I want to turn it down a bit. So my regular range I give to anyone that asks me this question is that I charge $250 for a 1,000 word article, $350 for a 500 word article, $500 for 2,000 word articles. Then I charge $800 for articles that require a lot of coding, regardless of length. For example, building a complete project and writing about it, right? So that's my like regular range whenever the companies ask me to give them my price. They end up countering your pricing. For example, this particular email I sent, they countered with paying 400 for a 2,000 word article, right? Then they gave me one system like that. Like if I said 200 word, 2,000 word article, they pay me like a certain percentage of a 2,000 word price. So so that's how I price when they ask me. Well, most people have their own price. They just say, okay, you pay $400 per article, you pay this amount per article, you pay that amount per article. So you can just use that. So let me copy that and send in the chat box so you guys can see. Oh, wow. So sorry, I've not been checking the chat box. I will try to speak louder now. So sorry. Is it okay now? Okay, thank you for that, Chikebuka. Right, so this is how I charge when they ask me for like my pricing. But most company, it's only this company that has asked me for pricing before. Everyone else just gives me their what they pay, then I decide whether I want to work with them or not. So yeah, that's that. So are there full-time technical writing roles as well, or it's only on contractual basis? Okay, so companies that want you to work on their internal or external documentation will most likely hire you full-time as a full-time technical writer. But the most popular ones are like when you contribute to their blogs, right? So when you contribute to their blogs, they just pay you per article. But when you are writing like their documentation or things like that, or they write a lot of articles in house or something like that, they might want to hire you full time. But definitely, they have full time technical writing roles because a lot of technical companies like Flutterwave, Paystack, and all those companies cannot afford paying you per article, right? They might be able to afford it, but it does not make sense for them financially. So they rather just pay you like, okay, pay you monthly, then you deliver whatever we need you to write. It's better that way for them, I guess. So yeah, they are full-time technical writing roles. But I've not worked a full-time technical writing role before. So just make that clear. So hope technical writing can make me unbelievably liquid. Ah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, there are a lot of like the most common thing that people do is they just work as a developer relations or developer advocate. Right? You might choose to work as a developer relations person or a developer advocate so you can take on more responsibilities and get paid like good money. So developer relations or working as a developer advocate includes writing articles, writing generally, then speaking to at events, conferences for your company, right? So if your company is building a particular product for like developers, you can help them work with the marketing team, then create like talks, sessions, workshops to so I believe that's the main way that you can get like better pay when you work as a technical writer because technical writing on its own I'm not sure but yeah depends on what your unbelievably liquid means yeah but yeah there are a lot of benefits and sky is the limit so and you said thank you for the knowledge you've inculcated in us. Every session so far has been very insightful and knowledge filled. It's how you are able to break the complexities into understandable bits for me. Many thanks again. Thank you so much for that, Chukwuebuka. I really appreciate the kind words. So I hope like my answers were helpful to understand. All right, you're welcome, Chukwuebuka. Okay, we have yeah, only Chukwuebuka and Blessing sent me questions. Blessing, yes, you said Blessing said in the last class, you said technical writing is mostly about writing on complex topics, topics that are not often talked about or can easily be found online, right? Yes, yes, like technical writing are mainly about these types of topics. So yes, okay. I'm an international relations student and we do a lot of writing, articles, research work, long essays, etc. And one advice we are giving in order to prove objectivity and credibility is through use of references, endnotes, and footnotes, which means which means using the work of others to validate yours, something like that. Yes, 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 true. That's true. Like when you're writing about a topic now and what that particular thing is out of like the scope of your tutorial or your article or your documents in general. You might choose to like link to other people's work for your reader to read more on it. So yes, you can use other people's work to validate yours. That's very, very acceptable and okay. Since you um so far you are giving like the author or the company that wrote the article, the attributes, all of that. Right. So how can you prove that your work is authentic and credible without bias if no article can be found online that has the same viewpoints as yours? No, like it's not that no article can be found online, right? Some articles can be found online and you can still write about them, but you just need to add your own. unique style and just do more justice to what the person has done, right? And for example, for a new um concept, for example, I'll use a technical example here. Like in programming, when a new programming language releases like a new feature or something like that, that feature, you might not find any article online talking about the feature, right? But you can always link to the programming languages or frameworks, documentation, right? Okay, Ridwan said, okay, you can always use like a link to the documentation, to the idea. Like it's literally impossible to write about something you cannot find online, right? So just look for a way, even if it's a book, just quote an author or someone like that to just support your work. You get? And if it's something like maybe you built a technology from ground up, you are the only one that knows about the technology, and just try to detail your findings, how you got to discover that, and just share the process and everything to show that your work is authentic and provide proof as much as possible. Proof can be linking to your source code on GitHub, linking to your like research paper or something like that. So yeah. Then the next one is that, or is technical writing just about the results and not the process? Most times it's about both. You want to talk about the results, then you still have to talk about the process, because if you talk about just the result and not the process, you will be confusing your reader more, right? So it's a combination of both. Yeah, you said, I remember you saying you hardly found an article online on the topic you wrote on JavaScript. Yes, yes, I did. I found an article, right? You always find articles, but in most cases, those articles like are not in depth, or they don't cover much. They are just like few points, no code examples. They are basically things you can make better. But there are also topics. For example, I wrote about, for example, type hinting in PHP last year. And within a few weeks, the article got to the first page of Google. And that was because there was no other article that wrote about it the way I did, right? So those uncommon topics are more easily accepted when you pitch them. Because when you want to pitch something and you pitch something like Introduction to JavaScript, or a very, very common article like that. Because when you pitch, they also go online or do whatever checks they do to check that, okay, will this article help our blog like put us on the first page of Google or something like that? Because they just check if it aligns with their goals. And most times, people are looking for unique ideas that can only be found on their blog, even though that's impossible. That's what most people want. So that's just what I try to do to minimize my rejections. But obviously, you can write about things people have written about before, but it won't be in your best interest when you pitch such articles to companies, because when they search for that keyword on Google or that topic and they find like four in-depth article on the same topic, they will most likely reject the article. Like, no, this is a very common article. We are looking for something authoritative, like thought leading article. things like that. So, okay, you understand now. You're welcome. And Ridwan Adeni said, do you need to ask for permission before using their work as a reference? No, you don't. As long as you give them like you link to their work or you write their name and say, okay, according to so and so person, or this person went in depth about this concept in the article or their work about or in their book. Just put their name and their link. You're good to go. If you don't, they'll probably reach out to you or call you out on social media that you used their work and you didn't give them the proper attributes. So to avoid that, just link to their work or put their name, their social media handles or something like that. So yeah. So Sumachi Fortune said she sent a question. Okay, yes, you did. I totally forgot about that. How do one write a research report? So a research report from what I understand, a research report is like when you do a research and you want to share what you learned in the process, like share it in an article, like a condensed article that people can easily understand, aside from maybe the research paper or the actual report. Yeah, research work and a research work article or document can just be um, key points of your findings. That's like the best way I think I would write such document. Key points, key findings, and things like that. Like the process. Like okay, this is what I did to arrive at this conclusion. Things like that. Like just keep it brief and concise for people that don't have time to read the actual report or actual research paper. To just read that article and understand that okay, so this research is about maybe intermittent fasting or how you should eat or things like that, right? So you can just write, okay, intermittent fasting helps to slow down aging. Then you put in like key points of what you did to research to get that result. Like, okay, I tested 15 mice or um, rats, right? I gave some rats food every time, and I gave some of them just few meals a day or one meal a day. And this is what happened to their brain. This is what happened to their body. This is what happened to their lifespan. So you can just shorten it like that, then link to your research paper for people that are like subject matter experts to read more and just look at your actual research to know that okay, maybe this person is misleading the public or whatever they want to represent. So I hope that answers your question. That's like best answer I have for that. So yeah. So a lot of you did not send any questions. Okay. If you are thinking of any question right now, so you can unmute yourself and let's talk about it. Okay. I shall please drop the attendance link so everyone can fill it up. So next week by Monday, I would like to have your topics. So Chukwuebuka already sent his own topics, and some others have done that too. So just try to send in your topics against Monday, because we are going to be talking about those topics on Monday. From now on, there are no slides. It's just discussions. Talk about what you want to write. Then next week is for writing, outlining, researching your topic, and eventually publishing it at the end of the week. So yes. Is there chats in this meeting? Oh, she's not here. Let me message her to drop the link. Yeah. Mm. So we're waiting for Aisha to drop the attendance link so you guys can fill and see you on Monday. But if you have any question, while we wait, just drop it in the chat box or unmute yourself and speak so we can talk about it. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mutiat.
I wanted to ask about this CV, like how can we write a CV for technical writer role?
Um, if I if I understand you clearly, you said series, right? If you want to write a series in technical writing.
No, I said CV, like resume.
Okay, CV. Okay, yeah. A CV. Uh, a CV is just basically a list of your experiences, and that's it. I'll share what's it called? I'll share my CV in the Zoom channel, so you can just use that to write yours. The one I use for all my applications.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Just drop that. I also copied the CV from someone. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, um, how can you get freelance job as a technical writer, or how do you put yourself out there? What social media platform? Or is it? Yeah, I know about LinkedIn and that, but how do you go about yours? How do you get clients and all of that?
Okay. Yeah. So when I started, I used a website. I've sent. Okay. I used a website called whopaystechnicalwriters.com. And just copy the link and drop. So I used this website to get gigs. My first two gigs. So I applied for like four companies. I applied to four companies. Yeah. And I got response. I got a response from two of them. So that was how I started. But before then, I published like 7 articles on my Dev2 page. So that was like my portfolio then. So that was what I did. So I went through these websites. I picked the ones that I know I can write for, because they're going to state what they want, what programming languages they work with, what they expect from you, what experience you should have and everything. So I saw that I was a fit for like 4. Then I applied. So just start with that website. I sent that website to every single person that asked me about this. So go to the website and just scroll and scroll until you find the one that you know that you can give like right from. But what I think you should do first is publish articles, the types of articles you know that you can write for companies. Publish like 1 or 2 or 3 of those on your personal platform. Then you post that on your Twitter and LinkedIn. So that was how I did it. And I've only applied for those 2 companies ever. The rest I got like DMs on Twitter, DM messages on LinkedIn, and that was it. I've only applied for those 2. I've only applied for those 4 companies. Then I got 2. Then after that, I have not applied to any other company for a technical writing gig. So every single company reached out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. So that's how I do it. But you can also find these jobs on LinkedIn and just put your CV anywhere you see like a vacancy or an opening, right? Just apply, 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 apply. But you should make sure that you have something that you can use as proof of work, because most of these forms are going to ask you like um put a link, add some links to your works. So I just dropped the form, the attendance form now. So you will to fill that up. So I just dropped my links to my articles in that field, because every single one of them is going to ask you. Every one of them is going to ask you to show them your works, like, show them articles you've written, so they know like your ability and things like that. So that's how I do it. Twitter, post your work on Twitter, LinkedIn, and just go from there. So is Medium a good platform from Blessing to promote your technical writing skills? So technical writing skills that you can promote on LinkedIn is when you write about things like product management, product marketing, things that are not very, very technical in coding sense, right? So you can use Medium for that. But for technical people like people that write code, Dev2 and Ashnode are proven to be the best. I don't know, I developed this hatred for Medium when I started learning tech, when I started getting into tech. Like, I'll read like 2, 3 articles, then they'll give me this paywall. I think there's a way to turn it off for your content or your page, but I just kind of hated Medium since then. That was like 2019. That even till now, if I see an article and I see that the link is a Medium link, I'll I would not like click it. I would not read it because I hate that paywall that comes up when you scroll to like the middle of the article and they are telling you to sign up or to pay or something like that. So I would not advise you to use Medium. But if your content is more of product marketing or anything that is not very, very technical, because you can build a community on Medium. But even if you do that, I would suggest something like Substack.com. You can use Substack.com to like build an audience and write about things that are not very, very technical. So I think I prefer this one to I prefer Substack to Medium, sure, but Medium is a good platform too because I believe they've been around for a while and a lot of people use them. So you can use things like Substack, Ghost, other platforms. But just use Substack. I recommend Substack more than Medium because that stupid paywall is always annoying and might limit your readership. So yeah. Okay, you said Elizabeth said you said you'd explain how to go about to the first right or employment offers. Yeah, so you probably just joined. We've talked about that earlier. So I dropped this message before. So you can just listen to the recording later. But basically, this is what I do. This is how I charge. So I hope that answers your question, Elizabeth. You're welcome. So if you fill the attendance form, drop a message so we can wrap it up since you guys don't have questions for me. Okay. So there's still much more time for us to discuss, for me to answer your questions anytime you have them. So we still have next week to talk about anything I want to talk about. So yeah, you can drop the questions in my DM. So we just talk about it in the next class. So
Sorry,
long.
please, are we dropping the topics too in your DM?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Okay.
If the client is a Nigerian company, they used to charge in dollars. They used to charge in dollars if the client is a Nigerian company. I I've only worked for a Nigerian company once, but they did not they did not pay me in dollars. Right. So I don't charge in USD if it's a Nigerian company, but I mostly don't work for Nigerian companies. Right. So and the way I charged was it was a monthly something. So it was like a full-time role, but I only did it for 4 months. Yes. So we decided they paid me 220K per month. So we after we decided the deliverables and we worked with that. I work with a Nigerian company currently too, but they are like registered in the US and they pay me in USD. So yeah. So when is the deadline? Okay, you said you share links to your articles. Okay, I'll send links to my articles in the Zoom channel. Confidence. I'll send the links in the Zoom channel so you guys can just go through them. Then when is the deadline for submitting topics? Yeah, just make sure I have them before 3 p.m. on Monday because we are going to be discussing your topics in detail. Every one of you talk about like your experience regarding the topics and what you hope the reader will gain from the article and all of that. So just do that on Monday. So yeah, I would like to have them before 3 p.m. on Monday then. So we can talk about them. Then by Tuesday, we move on to outlining in detail. So by Monday, you choose one of those 5 topics to write about. Then by Tuesday, you should have an outline. I don't know, not Tuesday, Wednesday, you should have an outline that will like be a detailed description of what you intend to cover. Right. So from Wednesday to Friday, you draft it. Then on Friday, we are going to like review each article and I'll give you feedback. Then you incorporate the feedback, you make changes. Then by the next Monday, you publish. So that's how it will work. So you're welcome, you're welcome. I believe everyone has filled the form, the attendance form. So let's